started in just a couple of seconds. Okay. All right. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're logging in from. Welcome to the 5th webinar in our METAL series. I'm Melissa McGregor. I'm a director here at Jobs for the Future, or JFF. If you're not familiar with JFF, we are a national nonprofit, and we are working towards economic advancement for all. Our work sits in the intersection between school and work, and apprenticeships fits very nicely into that mission. We are partnered in this project, in this work, with the Composites Institute and Metal for America. So just a few housekeeping notes. Our presentation today is on WebEx, and all of your microphones have automatically been muted. The session is being recorded and is going to be available on the METAL YouTube page by next week, early next week. If you do have questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can raise your hand, and our host, Jessica Taglia, will unmute you. And at the end of the event, there will be a survey pop up, and we would love it if you could give us your feedback so we can continue to provide this type of content. Next slide, please. Today, I'm going to introduce you to Lucinda Curry, who leads the Composites Institute, and will give you an overview of the METAL project. Then we'll talk about partnerships, which really are the drivers behind apprenticeships. And I'll introduce you to an incredible set of partners between Steel Warehouse, Hamilton-Ryker, and TalentGro. And then I'll introduce you to Dr. Becky Caldwell, who works on my team, and she will share with you how you can get started with and take advantage of some of the available intermediary partnership opportunities with METAL. And so without further ado, Lucinda. Is Lucinda here?
Oh, Lucinda, you are here. You need to unmute.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay, I thought I was. So just real quickly, thank you all for joining. I'm going to give a quick METAL overview. And METAL does stand for Metallurgical Engineering Trades Apprenticeship and Learning. So it covers a broad and depths of learning, all from K through 12, all the way up through apprenticeship and engineering programs. As Melissa said, I work for the Composite Institute. I am the lead on the METAL project and work under the workforce development arm of AACME. Thank you. Next. So the rationale for METAL really came from a need to, help our supply chain in the casting and forging, especially since metal castings are used to produce up to 90% of all durable manufactured goods, and especially the machinery that makes other things. A lot of cast parts in machinery. So the foundry workforce has decreased, and DoD has deemed it critical, to rebuild resilience back into the supply chain. It's the Navy's goal to train more than 10,000 manufacturing workers per year over the next decade, and that's just for the Navy. So not counting the Army and the Air Force, which are also partners in the METAL program. And here the DoD also plans to build over 381 ships by 2042. So there again, that's just a piece of the pie. When you look at the ships, the airplanes, the other vehicles needed by the military, but also the commercial side. There's just a really big demand for casting and forging, workforce development, to build that resilience back into the supply chain and to be able to supply all the necessary parts to keep our economy and our national security up to par. Next. So METAL is an industry-led national initiative. We do have a METAL advisory network that many of the associations in the casting and forging industries participate on. So we get feedback from their members as well as their directors and their workforce development directors. So we're really excited to be building that advisory network and have their input. It is supported by the Department of Defense. This work is the Industrial Base for Analysis and Sustainment, IBAS, program, which falls under the Office of Industrial Policy. So from that beginning of working with IBAS, pulling in industry, and then setting up our pilot operations with Penn State, we have now grown to include the University of Tennessee, University of Alabama at Birmingham, and Ohio State University, and growing that network as we move out across the country. Next. So this is a quick quote from Dr. Matt Graper. He is the Technical Director of Metallurgy and Manufacturing with IBAS, and is our mentor and oversight. The shrinking supply chain for critical defense materials demands an immediate response, and we must rebuild a modern workforce technologically adept and capable of meeting the demands of our defense industry with efficiency and innovation. So it's a great quote that we do need to take to heart, and each of us work to meet that demand. Next. Okay, and a little bit about our partnerships. As I said, we are partnering with universities, but we're also partnering with our great partner, JFF, Jobs for the Future, on building the apprenticeship programs directly with industry, and then also partnering with FEF, the Foundry Educational Foundation, on internships and high school engagement. So just excited about all the partnerships, and hopefully, you'll have questions and want to engage with us also to see how we can help you and your industry needs, as well as build our national security and commercial resilience into that supply chain. Thank you so much. I'll turn it back over to you, Melissa.
Thanks so much, Lucinda. And thanks for outlining the partnerships, because today's conversation really is about partnerships. Power Apprenticeships. That's the name of our presentation today, but it's really actually truth. And importantly, apprenticeships are always part of a larger ecosystem. So next slide, please, Jessica. I just want to share that all apprenticeship programs require at least one partner. Like, the minimum number of partners that you can have is 2. And that would only occur if there is an individual non-joint program where the employer is providing their own classroom training in-house. They still need to partner with the Department of Labor or their state apprenticeship agency. However, more robust programs have more partners. And so this graph kind of shows that there's always an anchor partner. So the anchor partners are employers. You have to have employers. Even if you are if you're a program sponsor, such as a community college or an industry association, you still have to have employer partners who are going to employ the apprentices. So I say here for the anchor partner that it's employers plus a sponsor if the employer is not the sponsor, but always the anchor employers are, the anchor partners are the employers. And beyond that, there's sort of this level of operational partners. So these are people who actually do something to support the apprenticeship program. So this would be training providers like colleges, the people who provide the RTI, the Department of Labor or state apprenticeship agencies. Labor unions play a huge role in apprenticeship programs across the country. Workforce development boards, who can also be a sponsor, but also, provide funding, other funding partners, and then intermediaries. Intermediaries can also be a little confusing because there's a lot of people who use the word intermediary. And in the apprenticeship space, an intermediary is basically anyone who is not the employer or the Department of Labor. So a community college can be an intermediary. A workforce board can be an intermediary. JFF is an intermediary, and we actually are supporting sites across the country in developing registered apprenticeship programs. And then there are other supporting partners. So this would be industry associations. Maybe they're helping you get the word out about your apprenticeship program, or maybe they are the program sponsor, sponsoring it for their members. You can have community-based organizations or even faith-based organizations who are part of the apprenticeship program. The K-12 system is critical. Pre-apprenticeship programs are considered a supporting partner. You can also have veterans or reentry service organizations who are partnered with your program, and then technology providers, people who provide types of software that help the apprenticeship program to capture data and the recordings, so like Apprenticescope or WorkHands. So all of these partners work together in delivering the program. And right now, I want to introduce you to a very robust partnership that has developed between our speakers today. And so I'm going to introduce you to Baruch Kibble from Steel Warehouse, and Sherry Franey from Hamilton-Ryker, and Eddie Martinez from TalentGro. And I'll let them introduce themselves and tell a little bit about themselves. So Jessica, you want to take the slides down for a minute? Great. Baruch, why don't you start?
Well, thank you, Melissa, and I would like to begin by thanking you for this opportunity, featuring Steel Warehouse as a true honor for our organization. My name is Baruch Kibble. I'm the manager of organizational development and training at Steel Warehouse. Steel Warehouse is a family-owned steel service center founded in 1947 in South Bend, Indiana. For the past 75 years, we've grown to over 14 locations, including international presence in Mexico and Brazil. Annually, we sell over 1 million tons. We offer a wide range of hot rolled and cold rolled steel products, offer many services to our customers. A few of those are slitting, temper level, pickling, laser, plasma burning, and much more. We offer we service a variety of industries. I'll list a few of them: construction, agriculture, automotive, solar, defense, and many more.
Nice, thank you. I learned some new things about Steel Warehouse. Thank you. Sherry?
Thank you, Melissa. I'm Sherry Franey. I'm the COO of Hamilton-Ryker, and I think I was kind of born to be in this space. When I got out of college, I couldn't find a job. It was a recession, and so I went to a staffing company, and they asked me if I would work for them, and that started my journey in workforce solutions. And so I had owned a staffing company in Pennsylvania, and after a period of time, then I joined Hamilton-Ryker. So Hamilton-Ryker is a, let me calculate, 54-year-old company. We started in Tennessee. And since that point, we have grown organically and through acquisitions, and we service pretty much all across the nation and up into Canada with our different sister companies and divisions. But you all know the stress of finding employees, and in 2018, I had presented to our CEO, I really think that we need to start working in developing employees and looking at this skills gap and what can we do to help employers to not just find employees, but their own employees. And so at that time, there was a lot of conversation about apprenticeship. We know that in the skills trades, but it was starting to really come out into other areas, and the government really started to fund the apprenticeship world. So we got involved in that. We created a workforce development division, which is TalentGro, and Eddie will introduce that end of it, but at that juncture, we were able to capture some grants that helped to fund this initiative. And our first grant actually was a DoD grant. So when we were talking about this grant, it just brought me back to our very beginning. And it was to really help to build within the manufacturing world education and workforce experiences, which is apprenticeship. So from that point, we have now grown to have over 8,000 registered apprentices that we have helped to onboard and manage across the country. Thank you. And we also have launched this for 900 employer partners. Every employer is unique, and they will have their own bent to this. And So we were thrilled to be introduced to Steel Warehouse and to be able to launch this for them. And I'm happy to talk more about this partnership and relationship. So I'll turn it over to Eddie.
Thanks, Sherry. So, my story, I came to Hamilton-Ryker about 9 years ago. I've served in various capacities. I started off actually on a manufacturing floor where I was coordinating the temporary employees that we had assigned to that facility. Moved my way up to business development manager, where I fell in love with workforce development and specifically upskilling programs and earn while you learn type programs like apprenticeships. So I really like that. I kind of latched on to Sherry and our division director, Ruth, during those times. And then when I became marketing manager, I helped kind of brand the newly created division. Came back and did some more staffing work with our manufacturing and metals industry partners, and led some of the offices here in Kentucky. And then, joined the workforce development division, which is TalentGro, as a program manager. So now my role is to launch apprenticeships and help employers such as Steel Warehouse, launch the apprenticeships, help to manage them through the full life cycle of the apprenticeships. So I'm in heaven. I love this job. I love what I'm doing, and I love that I can help folks like Barak.
Well, I love it too. Thank you so much, Eddie. And thanks for everyone for introducing yourselves. This is such an incredible partnership, and TalentGro and Hamilton-Ryker have been huge in this space. So let's back up for a minute, and I want to ask you, Barak, why did Steel Warehouse explore registered apprenticeships in the first place? Kind of, what was the problem you were trying to solve in the original time?
Sure. So let's step back a little bit to answer that question. So about 5 years ago or so, I got involved in working with the HR department, specifically working in training. And one of my early initiatives I took on was leadership development. And we rolled out a incredible leadership development program to many of our facilities. With the goal was to upskill frontline supervisors, upcoming leaders, and not just to train them how to be a good manager, but what it means to be a great leader. What's a Steel Warehouse leader look like? As that program took off, we started looking at other opportunities in the company to upskill our workforce, and started hearing different challenges regarding our maintenance department. Being that we're 14 plus locations, 2,000 employees, a lot going on, a lot of different machinery, a lot of different machines. And take one step back, at our corporate location in South Bend, we've had an apprenticeship for about over 15, 20 years that's run well. But with our expansion, we have more challenges. And that's where we started to have different issues. In one location, we couldn't get qualified maintenance technicians hiring in. Other locations had a great team, but we wanted to upskill them. And so that was the original challenge of how are we going to improve our maintenance staff, being that we're very operations is a big part of our organization, and how we're going to improve our maintenance going forward. So with that, we work closely with a industry trade association known as MSCI. It's a Metal Service Center Institute, that a few years ago, Sherry and her team was introduced through Bob Lerman, who's a legend in the apprenticeship world, and MSCI together with Sherry worked together to offer these service center industry apprenticeships, what they are and what apprenticeship can do. And that started the conversation. When we heard about that, you can help solve our problems in this location, that location, and that started the journey of this apprenticeship program.
So the leadership development program, did that continue? Do you still have a leadership development program and an apprenticeship program?
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, they're both going very, very strong. Leadership program is growing, is developing every day. apprenticeship program is working alongside that. And the beauty of it, we actually have a lot of our guys involved in apprenticeship also overlapping, involved in the leadership development program as well. So they're both going well. It's just my involvement with leadership development program kind of got me involved in all different forms of upskilling our employees company wide.
Yeah. So the apprentices who complete and get their journey worker card have the opportunity to then be upskilled to leaders of steel warehouse. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. We're constantly trying to upskill our workforce. And again, I think we take pride in Steel Warehouse being around 75 plus years that we don't offer jobs, we offer a career. And
So
many of our employees we're very proud to say many of our employees have been with us 20, 30 plus years, and many of their children have joined our company in our flagship in South Bend, Indiana. And we're very proud of that. And that doesn't happen by accident. That's because it's our culture. Our culture is a people first. We work with strong partners from our suppliers, our customers, and people like Sherry and your team in helping us improve day over day.
that's incredible. I love it. So tell us, what challenges did you encounter when you were trying to research and start an apprenticeship program? Did you encounter challenges, and what were they?
Challenges with a capital C. Where do you begin? Where do you start? As I mentioned, our challenge in we'll call it Cleveland, for example, we couldn't get people. So we realized we had to start from within. But what are their needs? We have one, and Cleveland has one machine. South Bend has a different machine. Who do I turn to? What's the cost of this? How do I run my business? How to do my day job when I got to build an apprenticeship program, get on the phone with the state and federal? I don't know where to turn to, where to begin. So putting these programs together are very challenging. We don't know where to begin. So like I said, we did a program years ago, but as we expand and all the needs expand, the challenges expand, and on your own, it's very challenging.
Yeah, it is challenging to start an apprenticeship program on your own. And I think that you hit the nail on the head. Where do you begin? I feel like I get that question almost every day. So how did you encounter, you told us how you encountered TalentGro, and that it was through MSCI, I believe.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
So Sherry,
Again, and Melissa, just to add to that point, one of the big challenges I would say as well is that like in South Bend at our flagship, our corporate, we work with a community college, okay? And that worked out decently, worked out fine, but we've expanded to many locations. Not every location now has a trade school. Not every location has a community college. So those guys also hear about the program, hey, we want to join. And those guys are working so many hours, or work 5+ days a week. And how do we get them involved in the program? And so not even if you work with a community college, it's not always going to solve your problems to help upskill your team. And Sherry and your team, you solved that problem by offering online schooling, online RTI to our employees, which has been a huge hit. And not only those guys could do it at their own time, but expands our opportunity. Expands our opportunity not just in many locations that we're not tied down anymore to a brick and mortar building.
so let's explore that a little bit more. You said that Sherry helped you kind of find a way to standardize the curriculum across your different locations. And how did that happen, Sherry? Oh, you must be on mute. I can't hear you.
So sorry, I did mute.
Okay.
So I had mentioned that we started with a DoD grant, and Melissa, you captured it because apprenticeship is all about collaboration and partnership. And in that grant, we were partners with Tooling U SME, Society of Manufacturing Engineers. And so they had provided online education developed through SME and in the manufacturing space. And so what we were able to do for Steel Warehouse is to bring their education to Steel Warehouse. And it was exactly what Baruch was talking about. You know, there's different locations, there's different occupations. The beauty of Tooling U is you can take all these courses and customize them. So they have courses that lead to certifications. but then they also have courses that we can customize. And Eddie habla español, so he has been able to help in developing a Spanish format as well with some of our other employers that may have Spanish speaking employees that want to go through the program. And so we all know that we learn best when we can understand, and it's very challenging when you are trying to learn something in your second language to really grasp the concepts. So being able to have that type of customization and have it asynchronous. So, you know, when I am able to learn, hey, I'm going to take my kid to soccer practice tonight. I'll sit in the car and I'll take my course versus being told when they have to go. And so it really is a partnership. We, as an intermediary, are agnostic in our RTI partners. So if an employer wants to use their community college, that's beautiful. If an employer is bringing somebody up through the high school and they get, you know, certifications in the high school, that's beautiful. But if an employer says to us, I don't know who to use, then we're able to come to them and say, hey, here's some of the partners that we work with. And that's exactly what we did with Steel Warehouse.
I love that. And it provides so much flexibility. And I'm very familiar with Tooling U as well. A lot of apprenticeship programs use their training and it's particularly crucial for when you have a situation like you have with Steel Warehouse where there's multiple locations in different states and you'd have to develop a standard type of curriculum across colleges, can be very challenging and time consuming. And so, yeah, I love it. Well, Eddie, let's hear from you. How does TalentGro operate as an intermediary? I'd love to hear more about how you sort of came up with the idea of translating your curriculum. If there's other things that are translated and the things you do, share with us.
Well, I think I think the key here is the flexibility that working with an intermediary provides, right? We've thrown that term out a little bit, but you know, I just attended y'all's co-sponsored apprenticeship accelerator event in Indiana,
Oh,
and it was amazing to see the number of intermediaries that are out there. But we all operate under different business models, right? Some folks bring the funding. Other folks will help you, like us, with full life cycle management of your programs. That includes us setting ourselves up as the sponsor for your program, so that then Barrick doesn't have to worry about, oh, I got to report this, put this into Rapids, or I've got a compliance review with DOL. You know, no, they don't go to him; they come to us, right? So that's why I keep saying that we're a full life cycle management from the beginning of the program all the way through when these apprentices complete their programs. Most intermediaries will help you with funding, right, for your program. So I've helped Steel Warehouse bring in some local state level funding from the state of Indiana. And then, of course, by partnership with JFF, another intermediary. I think of you guys as more than just an intermediary. I think you guys are like a great supporting professional organization, really, because I think if that was my suggestion to any employers here, is to come to you and ask, how do I get started? You know, you can go to your workforce development boards, you can go to your economic development councils and committees, but I think you guys are a great resource to point manufacturers and metal industry reps in the right direction, as well as like how we met Steel Warehouse, MSCI, we're professional organizations. But just find the intermediary that's right for you. And in the case of the existing programs that had community colleges running or spearheading their apprenticeships, they needed more flexibility. And so, as Sherry pointed out, we have access and a partnership with Tooling U that provides this online curriculum. So why not, get together with us that can give that flexibility, so that when Baruch's folks are like, I can't go travel to Ivy Tech in Indiana, or Cuyahoga Community College in Ohio, because I'm over here an hour away. And then, so I'm working a 10, 12-hour shift or whatever. I don't have time to go to a community college and take my classes. So let's bring the curriculum to them, right? And like Sherry said, when they're waiting, they take their kids to soccer practice or whatever, just sit in the car and do your online coursework. So that level of flexibility is what we brought for Steel Warehouse. And on top of it, the funding, which is able to enable them to, launch these programs, make them successful. We've got a laser maintenance technician program running in Indiana. I've got to give it out to the manager there, Scott Lyle. He has been amazing. Not only is he like the coordinator and the organizer of the whole program and gets those folks doing their stuff, he actually joined as an apprentice because he wanted to see, what it is that they're learning, and he wanted to be fully involved. So it's been a great opportunity for him. He's a great proponent out there. But again, I'm here as his support, to guide him through. I'll do monthly check-ins, weekly bi-weekly progress reports of where his folks are with their curriculum. What do we need? What's the next step in the apprenticeship? All of that kind of stuff. And that's what we offer as the intermediary. So it's been a really successful program. We've had our challenges in program development, right? This is a new occupation for the Department of Labor. But again, that's our job. That's my job to get the approvals at the DOL. And if we can't get the approval at the DOL, let's go reach out to the state and see if they can help us, expedite some things. And so we'll find those workarounds.
Incredible. I'm so happy we're recording this, Eddie. So we're going to probably just take that clip out and use it as a commercial. This was incredible. So I hope for everyone listening, you were making a checklist of the value added content that TalentGro can provide for you. Help with funding, sponsoring the program. He took the headache off of Steel Warehouse so that Baruch didn't have to be the sponsor and enter things into Rapids. Finding those partners, doing the curriculum, helping you get set up with Tooling U. That's incredible. That's unbeatable. So, and I love it. Baruch, do you think that Steel Warehouse could have built this program on your own without partners?
I'd say without the assistance of Sherry and your team, it would have been very, very challenging. I would not be meeting my goals and what I'm trying to accomplish for the company. I'd be a full-time apprenticeship guy. So I think to say you can do this on your own without the help that's needed, to be very, very challenging. And what Eddie mentioned about grant funding, I'm just going to focus on that for one moment. As I mentioned, prior to meeting Sherry and your team, our South Bend location worked with community college for many years. It's built a great program. But I asked them a simple question recently. Hey guys, have you got any grant funding for this? Oh, what's that? So these things are not cheap. Business is business has its ups and downs, and these programs sometimes could be chopped, if they get too expensive. So when Eddie and Sherry share with me, we can get you grant funding as well. That changed the conversation to the point now where we're ready to expand because of the success of the program and because of the funding. So even if you want to spend your time making these programs with a community college, if you don't know the funding that's out there, you're missing a huge opportunity for your company. And when your leaders see the success and see the funding coming back, they're asking for more.
That's so great. And it's not just the training, which is its own cost, but you just said that you would be a full-time apprenticeship guy, and most employers don't have one whole FTE to devote to someone to run the apprenticeship program, because having an intermediary there to provide that is critical. So what advice do you have for other metal manufacturers who may be listening today or listening to the recording, interested in registered apprenticeship?
Yeah, I think as Eddie mentioned, I think you need to reach out. Many companies, like I mentioned, we're part of this great association, Metal Service Center Institute. Reach out to your associations for some guidance. If you're interested in doing these programs, ask them who's there, who are the partners out there that can help them start these conversations. Because even if you're great today with your people and this and that, the opportunity to upskill and to turn people's jobs into a career, these are so valuable. So reach out for those connections. Don't try to take it on your own. It's not worth it. It's very time consuming, and the benefits that you're going to get from a partner are going to outweigh time and time again this partnership.
Thank you for saying your association. Everyone should reach out to the associations that they belong to and ask about apprenticeships. There's more and more industry associations who are sponsoring programs. And then for those who are not, the more they hear apprenticeship, we need an apprenticeship, then the more that they'll be interested in sponsoring one for you. Sherry, what are the plans for TalentGro and Hamilton-Ryker as an intermediary for the future?
Oh, so many. We have just been growing and looking at different industries. We are adding in the IT, which, every plant needs IT. We have a partner that works with us that has full curriculum payment. So if you needed a help desk person, it's totally, that whole curriculum is paid for, as well as our services. So continuing to develop those partnerships is key for us. We always try to work with associations. They are your point of reference and your subject matter expert in the industry. But we are also developing different pipelines and really working with pipelines of talent to come into your organization. So there is, what are we doing with our incumbent workforce? And then what are we doing? How are we getting the new workforce to come in? And so some of the ways that we have, some of the efforts and resources we put into are one for our returning citizens. We have had some great success with manufacturers with returning citizens, and we are just about to kick off a program in Tennessee that will be totally sponsored through the Department of Corrections in manufacturing. So we are taking the Tooling U curriculum. We are working with a other supplier that has worked in corrections for years. It's an international organization. Their tablets are locked down secure-wise, so we can put the Tooling U education on the secure tablets. So the individuals that are currently residents in the prison systems are able to get their education. Now, it can go one of two ways. They can be in work release. So they are residing in the prison, but going out and working.
Okay.
Or once they're released, then they can have the ability to be in an apprenticeship. And we have we started this in Kansas, and we were at a conference there being recognized for the work. And the gentleman, it makes you feel so good. It's like we are doing something good in the world, because that individual had said through his job that he had while he was still in prison, he was able to save money. He was able to get transportation. He was able to have a place to live. And most people, when they're released, if they don't have that type of support and that ability, they may be tempted to go back to the life they had before. So this is a key to having somebody have that ability to spring forward and to become, it's really very generational changing, because it not just changes that individual, it changes their family. And so it's been such a great program, and now we're going to be taking this out and moving it into other states. So that's one pipeline. Another pipeline, you had mentioned it, is youth. So what are we doing to help employers bridge from high school or their CTE programs into working in a facility into a great employer partner. And so really being in the middle of that in a pre-apprenticeship, helping with career exploration, helping them have, just, I don't even know where to start. This is where the students are saying, like, what is out there? And apprenticeship is becoming much more popular than directly going to college. It's earn and learn. You're not going into debt, and you're starting your earning at the very you're graduating and you're moving right into a job, and you're having that career pathway paved out to you, and it's becoming a very popular choice. And then kind of carved out another niche that we're working on, which is really an amazing population, is our foster who are aging out. They have a lot of needs. And so one of the things that we have built that runs alongside of apprenticeship is our nonprofit called Workwell. And Workwell provides case management and supportive services to those who are involved in the apprenticeship programs. And this was started through grant funding. Some of the employers that have started with this maybe had their own foundations, or they realized the retention and the culture that it built to have a third party be able to come in and have that ability to talk with somebody who's really having life challenges, whether it's domestic, whether it's I can't pay my electric bill, I can't get to work because my car broke down, I can't afford childcare. I had somebody taking care of my children, and now they can't do that. And who am I going to pay? And I don't have money saved up for that. So having those financial services to be able to come and support and take care of that, and having a person that can walk you through and really determine, were you aware of the benefits that are there in your state? Were you aware of SNAP benefits? Are you aware of the electric benefits? And getting those benefits for them that could add up to $600 a month can be life-changing and can help a person stay in their job. So really being able to wrap that around, it's called wraparound services, but wrap that around those that are going through their apprenticeship, the retention rate goes sky high. And so those are some of the things that we're working on that we're very passionate about and excited about. But Eddie has a big job. He balances all these things and does the great work. And I just talk about it, and he does it.
That is so incredible. So I have just a couple of comments, and then we'll take some questions from the audience. This is you brought up something in terms of returning citizens that I just want to make sure that employers in the audience are familiar with. Jobs for the Future has a Center for Justice and Economic Advancement, and this group does an employer cohort. It's a small cohort. They have a few times a year that you can enter, and they will teach and work with employers on what policy changes need to happen in order for you to be able to hire people with records. And it's more than just kind of ban the box. It's much more, what are the policies that could be potentially holding you back from this huge talent pool? When you can't find talent, this is an untapped market. And please reach out to the CJEA. The other thing you said was that people are choosing apprenticeships and instead of college as soon as they graduate from high school. It is so true. There is a growing, increasing number of skills you have to have for an entry-level job. So, for the employers who are listening, please take heart that if your job description says entry-level and you're paying an entry-level salary, but they need to have 5 years of experience or even 3 years of experience, it will be impossible to find that talent. So apprenticeships is, the way that young people are getting that experience, because it is pay, like you just said, but it's also the experience that they can put on their resumes. And apprenticeship also is a huge support in retaining talent. So like you said, Sherry, recruiting and retention. It can be both. I'm sure people today want to be able to reach you. And I know that I saw Eddie and Baruch putting your information, your email addresses in the chat. Sherry, do you want to share your email address as well so that people can reach you if they would like to have some intermediary support from Hamilton-Ryker or TalentGro? And then,
Absolutely.
thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to open up the floor to questions from the audience.
Hi, everybody. If you want to speak, please raise your hand and I will take you off mute. But we'll start with the questions that we have in the chat. So one from Brent. Great information about high school graduates working with colleges, returning citizens, foster children. Is this also a good option for upskilling existing workers as well?
Yes, absolutely it is. And you know, well, the returning citizens is not, I mean, that's a returning citizen, but I'm thinking we're talking about are we talking more about
Just apprenticeships in general?
apprenticeships? Or are we talking about the support services? Support services and apprenticeship are great for the incumbent workforce. So
Brent, do you
I
want to
think that's
just
what we're talking about.
elaborate? I'll unmute you. Maybe he stepped away.
And Jessica unmuted you if you can speak your question. He might have.
We'll circle back to that one, maybe offline. All right. Do have another one from PE. Our nonprofit Scholar Smarts focuses on high school students, and we focus on the tool belt generation. We just launched the Kansas City Youth Workforce Academy, but we want to be like Workwell. Our students are at risk and need wraparound services. We partnered with construction trades. Please advise. And they offered their website for future learnings. But if there's anything, can quickly give advice to PE about that question, and we'll see what we have.
I did actually copy that and send it to myself, so I'm happy to connect and help in any way possible. But I will say to you, this is where your workforce boards in Kansas, they have the METAL grant, and they, through the state expansion grant, monies were given to the workforce boards. And so the workforce board's money is there specifically for the support services. So if you're in Kansas, I would suggest that you reach out to your local workforce board and ask them, you know, what are the supportive services that you are able to provide? So when you're working in the Kansas area, you're able to make those connections or get the funding for whomever.
So it looks
Oh, you're in Missouri. So sorry. You could try in Missouri. I'm not sure what their workforce boards have.
Right. Still good all around advice. Check with your workforce board for sure. Moving on. So Jordan says, how are you integrating AI training with your apprenticeship programs, specifically for manufacturing?
So I think, well, we have a couple programs with Steel Warehouse. We've got the laser maintenance technician program, and then we have a millwright program in their Ohio facilities. As far as the AI training, a lot of that is embedded into the curriculum, so that Tooling U provides. Tooling U is great about refreshing and updating their curriculum. In fact, they even have a new electric vehicle group of courses that they are offering for folks that want to, you know, participate in that. So they're the ones that are integrating and incorporating that, and as they you know revise and update their curriculum. If you have any specific questions, just shoot me an email, and then I can definitely follow up with them and, you know, if we have any suggestions.
Wonderful. Circling back to Brent, so he was talking, but we couldn't hear. So he typed clarifying, are some existing incumbent workers eligible for support systems, for support services? How else might an employer work with an intermediary to support their existing workers?
So, yes, definitely incumbent workforce, but a lot of this is grant funded that I spoke about. And so it would really be specific to that grant as to what they provide. But as you just heard, we in the state of Kansas are an intermediary. We're one of 7 intermediaries in the state of Kansas. They don't provide for us the funding, but we connect every employer to their workforce board. So we've made it our mission to partner with the workforce board so that we know in this region 1, this is what they provide. And then when we do the onboarding with the employer, there is always a week that we bring that workforce board to them to say, here you go, here's what's available. With Steel Warehouse, Eddie went to the local workforce boards to try to find the funding for Steel Warehouse in that geographic area to help to support Steel Warehouse's program. So that's when we're talking about intermediary, that's part of what we do. We make those connections. We're kind of like that center hub of the wheel with all the spokes of our partners. And we're just bringing you into that center and just relationships in and out to bring the resources to the employer.
Sherry, if I may add to that. So
Yeah.
when you're reaching out to the workforce boards, they have varying levels and types of funding. The funding that I was able to obtain for Steel Warehouse was training dollars, if you will. You know, they have their various buckets of money, but there could be some funds that are apprenticeship related, and the funding could incorporate things such as wraparound services. So if Barrick said to me, hey, my guys need some some wraparound services, they need some financial support, I would go and try to find some grant dollars, to allocate to those services.
Wonderful. Got 2 more questions in the chat, so we'll do that. And then if there's anyone else that has any last lingering thoughts before we move on to the kind of conclusion of this program. Erica asks, is Tooling U something that can be used to supplement curriculum, or is it more of a standalone?
I'll take that one. Yeah. So it is not an end all be all. It's a very flexible option that can replace, in classroom. But a lot of what you guys do in the metals industry and in manufacturing demands hands-on. So fortunately, the apprenticeships are structured so that there's both education, right, the RTI, related technical instruction, and OJT, on the job training. And through those competencies is where they get that hands-on experience. So Tooling U is a method of delivery for the RTI component, but you can pair it up with anything. So if, for example, with the laser maintenance technician, these are laser cutters, right? And it has a really advanced technology, and there's various technologies that the lasers use, like different gases and stuff, to actually cut the metal. So we're considering adding or bringing in a vendor that does specific training for that machine. So we're pairing up the Tooling U, the online learning, and then getting some hands-on training, so you can couple them up.
And just to add to
Wonderful.
that, I have seen multiple community colleges who subscribe to Tooling U for their manufacturing
Exactly.
coursework
Yep.
as a supplement. So
There you go.
there's an instructor, there's a lab with equipment, and then in the sort of flipped classroom model, the student would go and take their Tooling U module and then come back to the classroom to talk about it, discuss, and practice. So it can be either a standalone or part of a wider curriculum. Good question, Erica.
Wonderful. We're gonna, Becky has her hand raised, so unmute her for a moment.
I just wanted to give Baruch more time to talk about his program. We're hoping you like it and then you want to expand it. So can you tell us a little bit about the future of your program?
Yeah, we like it, we love it, and we are looking to expand it. Yes, right now we have 4 facilities that are utilizing apprenticeships. 2 were done prior to the partnership with Sherry and her team, but we are looking to expand to our southern facilities in the next year. Again, as Eddie mentioned, currently we have a millwright occupation, a laser maintenance tech, but other facilities of ours have other machinery, and whatever their needs are, we will adapt and work with Eddie to find the right occupation to upskill those employees.
Wonderful. I'm going to give one last question. And if you have further comments, concerns, questions, please do follow up with everybody afterwards. And then we'll move on to the conclusion, like I said. So briefly, Erica also followed up with, how are you engaging companies in apprenticeships? We have a large industry here in Mobile, but often find companies want to train in-house or only want one apprentice at a time. So it takes multiple companies to hire students.
So I'll jump in there. I think Steel Warehouse can speak to this too, because Brooke, you did not have like large volumes of employees in one location, right? So when you were setting up an apprenticeship, you maybe had 3, 4 individuals for that one specific role. And so that is really something that we understand that an apprenticeship could be for one person, but apprenticeship in a company can be for multiple people. And so when we go out and we engage with employers, it's again, the employer is the driver in the relationship. They are the anchor. What is it that their needs are, and how do we help them address those needs? And it could be for one, it could be for 100. We just have to figure out what it is, and then you create it accordingly.
Excellent. Thank you all so much. I'm going to pass it over to Becky, who is going to tell us a little bit more about what we can do for you in the METAL project.
Thanks, Jessica. And Erica, I believe you are at a community college, and they do have special challenges when it comes to apprenticeship. But Melissa comes from that environment, and she has a lot of good guidance on how colleges can reach out to employers. So send me a note, and I'll set up a call with Melissa too, so she can help talk that through about working with your local employers, because that's so important. But thank you guys all for joining us for this webinar. I'm Becky Caldwell. I'm a senior manager here at JFF, and I do a lot of the industry outreach. So I do a lot of just talking to companies about the METAL project and how we can help. So I just wanted to run over some of the things. This is a fantastic program, and we're so excited to be part of it. So some of the things I'm going to talk about are things that we can do ourselves, and then there's also other partners on this project that can help companies through the METAL project build their talent pipeline, improve their training. Some of the things that are available through the METAL project are a lot of some online curriculum. If you go to that METAL for America website that Jessica put in the chat, there's a sign-up sheet for training. There's 8.5 hours of online training to support casting and forging, and they're growing. The training is growing all the time. So, many companies are already taking advantage of it. So we encourage you to sign up and do this online training as well. The other thing that the METAL is doing, which is really important in the long term, are these STEM camps for kids and boot camps. This is not something JFF is doing, but we're just excited to see the interest among young people to get involved in manufacturing and really having that hands-on experience, which really inspires them to stay involved in STEM and stay involved in manufacturing in the long term. So that's really exciting. And then I wanted to mention the internship program. Another partner on this project is FEF, which is the Foundry Educational Foundation, and they really support through this project. They're supporting internships at companies. So contact Lucinda or I, and we'll get you in touch with them. You can talk through the process of how they're supporting that. The part that I wanted to talk about mainly, though, is the support we provide about apprenticeship. That's how JFF got involved in this project, because we have a long history of supporting manufacturers in apprenticeship. We have another big project that we've been working on the JFF has been on for 10 or 12 years now that's gone on, where we work directly with manufacturers to help them develop apprenticeships and work-based learning programs. So that's how we got involved in METAL. We have a lot of expertise there. So we have a lot of technical assistance that's available to anybody that wants to talk to us about it in the METAL. And one thing we do is talk to them about the resources that are available to support their program, because we really meet manufacturers where they are. Some manufacturers need a lot of support. Some have a lot of knowledge and a lot of resources and can do more of it on their own. So we talk to them about resources like group sponsors like Hamilton-Ryker. We know of there's another national group sponsorship that Lucinda and I used to work for. Then there are regional group sponsors, and all of them have different, price levels, but they also have different supports that they can give you. So you just have to check them out and decide what works best for you. And we talked about tooling you. There are other online training providers too that specialize in casting and forging that we can recommend as well. So all it takes is a phone call or email to me, and I'll set up a call with you to talk to you about what your training needs are and how we can support you through the METAL project. But today I wanted to talk about our incentive funding also. We have a pool of money that we can use to help companies and organizations that want to do apprenticeships in casting and forging. It really depends on the company, not the occupation. So if you're a company involved in casting or plate rolling or forging, let me know. Love to talk to you about it. And it's for existing programs that want to expand, or it's for totally new programs. So it's up to $4,000 per participant, which is very generous, with a cap of $24,000. And it can be used for all sorts of things other than wages, which includes supplies and equipment. We're taking applications on a rolling basis. So send me a note and I'll happily send you an application for our incentive funding. So these are the contact information, my contact information and Melissa's and Lucinda's. Send us a note if there's anybody on this call that you'd like us to connect you with. We're happy to do that as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Becky. We're just about over here. I want to give a huge thank you to all three panelists for joining us today and sharing their stories. Huge shout out to the JFF staff who had a part in putting this webinar on. Do please reach out to us, and there's the contact information there, and in the chat was the three speakers' emails. You also will get a survey immediately after this if you want to sign up for help. So thank you so much, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.